Hey guys, it's me, your boy, and I didn't want to make this video, mainly because I didn't want to play this game, like, at all. I did not want to come around this game with a 10-foot pole, ever. I wanted to avoid it at all costs, but around a week and a half ago, a friend convinced me to play this game, so I gave in and wanted to give this game a chance. I went into this game open-minded, and I'm really disappointed, Atlas. What the frick is this, Atlas? Now, before I go any further with the review, people are going to be asking, why did I play the game from start to finish if I wasn't going to like it? And to that, I say, one, is your brain shot, because you need to finish a game to review it, and two, I was giving this game multiple chances for it to be good, and it was good in some parts of the game, but not in all of it. A lot of the parts in the game just kinda bored me, I guess. And there was a point in the game where I played, I won't say anything right now, but there's a part in the game where that just made me realize that, yeah, I can't keep playing this. So I rushed through a lot of the content to get this video out, and I don't regret it. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. I do want to talk about that I was really excited for this game. I am a Persona fan. I'm not going to say I'm an Atlas fan, but I am specifically a Persona fan. I've played Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5 Strikers, and Persona 5 Tactica. Now, I haven't finished Tactica. I'll get around to it at some point, you know, whenever I am able to. But I am a huge Persona fan. I've played all through those games, except for one. Persona 3. That was the only Persona game that I haven't played. And there was a chance for me to play it back last year, I think 2022 or 2023, correct me if I'm wrong. That's when Portable got ported to modern consoles, and I didn't play it because the answer wasn't in there, and I didn't know that, so I went to play Persona 4 instead, or Persona 4 Golden instead. So that's why I never played Persona 3 Portable. And I can remember when this game got announced, I was at work, outside on my break, scrolling through Twitter, and I think that's when Microsoft had their showcase, I think. And I was looking on Twitter, and it showed a leak of Persona 3 Reload, or Persona 3 the remake, coming out, and I jumped out of my seat, and I was texting my friend, no way, this is happening, oh my god, I'm so excited for this, I'm gonna get it day one, right? And, you know, we were waiting for confirmation. Obviously, it was confirmed, it was official, it was real, and I was excited. And then we learned more information about the game. I was devastated to find out this is not going to be the definitive edition of Persona 3. Why this is the case, I will never understand. They don't have the female protagonist from Persona 3 Portable, and they don't have the answer from Persona 3 FES. Now, at the time, I was not really thinking about it too much. I kind of thought, yeah, don't worry, they'll put it in Reload, and they're just hiding it, you know? They haven't shown it yet, so that's why. When I watched the official trailer, it didn't seem to be the case. They didn't show anything about the answer, and that kind of scared me. But I was still a little hopeful. And then the producer of the game came out in an interview. I think it was by IGN or GameSpot, I can't remember. And he said that the answer and the female protagonist is not in Persona 3 Reload. And I was like, what the crap? Atlus is insane for doing a remake of a game that's 2 decades old and not putting all the content from the previous games in here. It's freaking crazy to me. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Anyways, I don't want to get sidetracked, but yeah, that's my little backstory on that game. And I made a video like, I think 8 months ago, 6 months ago, saying that, you know, I'm not going to be playing the game at all. And I mean, I kept true to that promise for most of it, but, you know, my friend convinced me to play it, so here we are. I might as well make a review out of it and give you guys my thoughts. They are not positive. They are completely negative. But I don't want to get into that right now. I'll tell you the positives of this game, because I didn't think this game had positives, but we'll start. For one, the presentation of the game looks phenomenal. For a remake of a 20-year-old game, that is amazing. The graphics look crazy. You know, they have like reflections outside the windows whenever you go walk outside a class. You can see the students looking at you from the other side of the area, like the window. And if you look at the window outside your dorm, you know, your HQ area, you can see cars passing by. That's really freaking cool. I've never seen like a JRPG really utilize that. That's freaking cool, Atlus. Good job. Keep doing that with your other Persona games. The second thing I like is the drip you get a third of the way through the game. I think it was an amazing idea for Atlus to make new cutscenes with the new drip. It is the best outfits in the entire game, and I never took them off. Never. There wasn't a single time where I put on another outfit for someone else. Besides Aigis and her Persona 5 Shujin uniform. And I think that's really cool. I like that they, you know, went out and changed some of the stuff, but as we get further into the video, my attitude will sour a lot. But another thing I really liked, it was Tartarus in itself. I like Tartarus in itself. I like the, like, every like other block, I think like every like 3 blocks, you could get to see something different, you know? If you go through like 2 halves, or yeah, 2 halves full, whatever, you get to see like, you know, new environments every once in a while, and, you know, that's really cool. I'd be going into Tartarus looking for stuff, and I'd just be sitting there for a few minutes looking at all the scenery in Tartarus. It looks so cool. I legitimately like the design areas of Tartarus. It was a good thing that they did that, you know? Amazing. Just freaking amazing. I guess another thing I'll say, one, this is probably gonna be the last thing, unless, you know, I edit this later and there's something else, but, the thing that I like is the theurgy system. The theurgy system is the coolest thing ever. It's basically just showtimes from Persona 5 Royal, but they're a lot better and they actually do something. You're not restricted to using them once every battle. You're restricted to using them once your meter is filled, and from doing a certain action, and then you can do that over and over and over. A lot of times you can use that to cheese bosses in this game, which is really cool. I always love, you know, that JRPGs lets us cheese bosses like that. That's really freaking cool. And, well, okay. No, this is the last one. The last thing I really like about this game is the extra hangouts you get with other characters every once in a while. So, there was a time where I couldn't hang out with a certain person. Yukari. I couldn't hang out with Yukari for a while, and I was able to hang out with her before starting a social link with her. So I was able to get points in exchange for, you know, hanging out with said character. And I think that's kind of cool. And all the voice lines for the side events, you know, the social links and all that, they're voiced. That's really freaking cool. Persona 5 hasn't done something like that at all. They would only voice like 2 things, like the rank 1 and the rank 10 for social links. And that was it. You didn't get to hear any other voice lines for any other social links. But in this game, they went above and beyond to voice the social links 1 through 10 all the way through, including the not important, you know, so, you know, extra stuff, which is really cool. I was just like, dang, I had to give the game points for that. Now, this is where we get into my review, my negative review of this game. Atlas, what is this? What the frick is this? I know I'm going to have some hate for this, and that's okay. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions, but what was Atlas thinking putting something like this out to the masses, to the public? This game is the reason why I don't like some of the Persona games. You know, or this is the reason why I don't play some of the older ones, I guess. People hyped this game up to oblivion. I had a friend who told me that this game was going to beat out Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for Game of the Year. Persona fans are just crazy. I don't really know. So, the thing I have a problem with. We'll start with the gameplay. What gameplay? Nothing changed. It's literally Persona 3.5. That's it. It's Persona 3.5. It's literally 5's combat ported over to Persona 3. That's it. They tried to change things up with the theurgy and Shift, but let me tell you, Buster, Shift is literally baton passed without all of the good things that I liked about baton pass. Like, why in the world am I going to use Shift to make one of my characters have a second turn when they're already going to have a turn anyway after I pass the baton to them? That makes no sense, and I can't even get double damage bonus from that. No. I liked what they did in Persona 5. They should have just literally ported the entirety of baton pass into this game, because that's what this is. This is not a different combat system whatsoever. This is literally the same thing. I don't care what any of you Persona tards tell me. This is the same thing. And it's really disappointing. I mean, I get it, there's not much you can really do, except for, you know, take inspiration for, you know, your most famous Persona game ever, you know, that's been released. Or, I guess, your most recent one, before 6. Which, I guess that makes sense, but you could have at least done something, bro. You could have at least innovated. But you didn't. And I'm disappointed about that. Oh my god. It's just... And now, I won't talk about the story, because I don't feel a reason I should, but I will contradict myself as I say that, and I will talk a little bit about the story. Everyone already knows the story about Persona 3. There's nothing different about the story in this game. There's nothing different about it. Aside from the new drip you get, and a few extra cutscenes that you get in this game. There is nothing different about it. And I was just kind of baffled. I was like, what? They could have went the Final Fantasy VII route and changed most parts of the story. I get it, they want it to be faithful to the original adaptation of the game, and it's fine. But you could also make huge changes into the story at the same time. It's not that hard. Now people are already gonna say, well, you know, if you've seen everything that's happened, then of course the story is gonna be as engaging. Wrong. I was just as engaged in the story as I was when I saw it, the other 2 times. But the problem is this game, the story, doesn't do anything different. It copies and pastes Persona 3 story word from word, beat from beat. It doesn't change anything about it. And it really sucks! Because I thought they were going to do something different. I thought they were going to be geniuses with how they do their story. But I forgot. This is Atlas we're talking about. And I guess I should have known better than to even think they were going to do anything different with their story. It's just sad. It really is. Now that I've talked a little bit about the story, we'll talk about the social links. Atlas. Why? Why did you make social links mean nothing in this game? If you don't know what I'm talking about, in this game, when you start up a social link in Persona 5, or not in Persona 5, in this game, you'll talk to them and whatever, and that's it. Now, I came from Persona 5, and I was expecting there to be buffs for social links after you progress them. And when I figured out there wasn't, I was like, okay, that's fine. Maybe they are just saving that because, some cool social links will happen. Like, I guess, more interesting stuff will. And, nope. That wasn't the case whatsoever. Let's go ahead and mention Aigis. The girl I ended up romancing at the end of the game. It meant nothing that I romanced her. Why, you might ask? Well, in Persona 5, both versions of the game, when you romance someone in the game, you could actually go out on dates with them past the max rank. And if you kept going on dates, you could eventually, increase their Persona stats by a little, but, you could still do it. And they would remember, or at least count on the fact, or mention the fact that you're dating said character. Where I was at in the game, I couldn't even start the social link with Aigis until the end of the game. A month before the game ended. It's not even a month! It's 23 days before the game ended on the dot. Atlas. Why did you think this was a good idea? I don't understand. You know what? Screw it. I'm putting this in the same section too. Why in the world could I not hang out with Yukari at the beginning of the game? She joins your party at the same time Junpei does. Literally at the beginning of the game. And you're telling me I don't have enough charm to hang out with her? No. That's not okay. Stop. Persona 5 did it way better. And I think it's time. I won't put this as a separate section. I'll put this as the same section because I think this needs to be set. The social link points, or the social stats, are garbage in this game. They are awful. They are meant to be filler for you passing the time along after you sped run Tartarus for the 23rd time. Why in the world do I have 3 social stats to level up, but they take forever to level up? Like, at the end of the game was when I was able to get maxed out charm, maxed out freaking charisma, and maxed out freaking, intellect. Atlas, what are you doing? Why did you make getting social stats harder in this game than it was in Persona 5? In Persona 5, there was only 4 social stats, and it was way faster to level them up than it was in this game. Can I ask who was the person who thought that was a good idea? Please? I couldn't hang out with the majority of the cast until either a quarter of the way through the game or near end game. Why? Did you think this was a good idea? Did you think I would be up in my seat clapping for this? No, I'm not. This is so bad. Whoever thought this idea and ran it through, QA, and then got it approved, you need to be fired. There is no reason that social stats, when you have 3 of them to level up, should be taking this long to do. Shouldn't be taking that long to level up. It's dumb. It's freaking stupid. I wanted to hang out with Fuuka and Mitsuru, and I couldn't do that until, I think the third to last month of the game. It's mind-boggling. In Persona 5, they did it a lot better. I don't get it. My god. And because of that, I missed out on a bunch of social links because of that. Because I didn't have enough of charm, of charisma, of intellect to interact with most of the people. But, to be honest, I didn't really care for most of the people. So, I guess it's not that big of an issue. So I guess it's whatever. Okay, now, I guess we'll talk about the calendar system. The calendar system in this game, I don't know if it's just me, but the calendar system in this game feels like padding. Like, the calendar system itself feels padding. Now, I'm really glad that the biggest aspect I didn't like in Persona 5 wasn't in this game. I'm glad. But in return, you feel like the calendar system is just padding. It's filler. It's not important. I can't explain to you how many times I have gone through, most of my social links, and, obviously I couldn't do most of them because the game is retarded, and I don't have enough of the social stat to do them. Or, I've already went through Tartarus, so now all I have to do is spam going to sleep, or spam farming for social stats points. Guys, you can have a better gameplay loop than that, can you? Are you unable to think of a better gameplay loop than that? Because I started to feel it a quarter of the way through the game. I was thinking, holy crap, there's so much to do there's so much to do in this game. I hope the calendar system doesn't punish me too hard from doing all of it. And then when I did all the stuff that I was allowed to do, I couldn't do it anymore. I had to wait until a specific period of time in the story. This is going to be a weird suggestion. I think they should just have the option to skip ahead certain days. Because I don't know why I'm having to go through multiple days at a time. Not being able to go through Tartarus, which, I can go through Tartarus and grind, but you can't really grind enemies that get one-tapped. So that's not even an option. I'm playing on normal. I'm not playing on easy. The entire time I played it on normal difficulty without changing it. This game was freaking easy. But yeah, a lot of times I just feel like I'm just doing nothing to pass the time. And that's dumb. I shouldn't be doing that in a video game at all. It was boring. I mean, I guess if you wanted to go the occasional parts of going to like a beach or going like to like a school trip somewhere, sure, we can call that something. If you really want to stretch the truth, sure. But no, it just feels like it's padding. I don't know. It could be me, but that's what I have to say on that. They have this thing called the rewind system. And basically, it's a system where if you mess up on something, if you miss a quest, if you missed an enemy that you missed, or a door that you accidentally went past, you can use that feature to go back to your save file and do it all over again. It's basically like going back in time. This was a neat concept at first when I did it, right? I thought, man, this game is kind of cool for having something like this. I haven't seen a game, with this kind of feature yet, is what I thought. There is a person you can save, and if you don't care for spoilers, leave, but it's the only time I'll say it, so if you get spoiled by this video, then that's kind of your fault. This is a review. What are you doing here? So, one of the characters that you can save if you follow the specific steps at the specific time was Chidori. She is a part of Strega, a terrorist organization. And there's a part where you can give Junpei the flowers and then tell him to go see her. Okay? And I thought, this is a Persona game, it didn't really matter what choice in dialogue I made. So I chose the funny option. And I thought, yeah, this will still work. He'll still give it to her, right? Right? No. I found out last night that I was dead wrong. I realized it was past the date that Mitsuru needed to get a phone call to confirm that I was able to save her. And I was confused. I looked it up online, I followed the guide correctly, or so I thought, and I looked at my items, my key items, and I saw the white flower there. And I was like, huh? What is that still doing in my inventory? And then I realized I picked the wrong dialogue option. Because I didn't know this game's dialogue mattered a little more than other games. And that's not necessarily the game's fault for that. That's kind of my fault for not picking, this serious option. So I'll take fault in that. But what I not take fault in is the rewind system being awful. Why is it that I'm only able to go back 2 days? Why? That makes the rewind function useless. And now, you may be thinking, well, Deadpool, why in the world, why would you ever make a mistake that was so great that you need to go back a month for that? Well, that was me. I was in that position. And I wanted to go back to select the option to give him the roses so that he can go to Chidori to give her the roses so that she can survive. But I didn't get that option. And I screwed myself the entire playthrough. And I was furious. I was upset. I think they should have just committed all the way with the rewind function. It annoys me to death that the rewind function wasn't letting you go a month back or even a week back. Because all I really needed was to either go a week back or 2 weeks back. Not even a freaking month. But I couldn't do that. I could only go for 2 days. And I just don't understand it. It makes the rewind function utterly useless. I don't get it. So I was kind of upset the whole way through. But whatever. So, the next thing I want to talk about This might be a miscellaneous topic. This might not be. Who knows? We'll see in post-editing production. But I think, for one, the Velvet Room is useless. Let me explain. Now, I have a persona that's called, the persona's name is Loki. I mean, he's one of the DLC personas that you can get in this game. I got that, the Persona 5 soundtrack, and the Personas. Because I like Persona 5, so why not, Throw them a little bit of money. And I didn't realize that Loki is game-breaking. And yes, obviously, higher level personas in the early game can help you through the game, but holy crap, is Loki overpowered in late game too. There's a skill that he gets, and it does strike damage, severe strike damage to everyone. If you pair that with Koromaru's guaranteed crit for all party members for 3 turns, you can one-tap any boss. I use Debilitate with my character. I use the guaranteed crit for everyone with Koromaru. And then I use attack up with Aegis to buff that attack. And then I one-tapped everything that stood in my way. I never had to worry about dying when I had Loki on my team. Ever. And I think that's a problem. Now, yes, it is my fault. I am kind of to blame for buying the DLC Persona and using it. But that doesn't excuse the Velvet Room being so awful. Why are the Velvet Room Personas that I'm trying to fuse bad? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, I don't think, besides Principality, and, I don't remember the persona's name, but I used Principality in that persona, and that was it. I didn't use any other personas, except for, the other DLC one, which is, Morgana's, final form one. Guys, you made Persona the Velvet Room useful in Persona 5 Royal, even though I could get Raoul from the beginning of the game. Do you see what I mean? Even with Raoul, I still needed to get other personas to beat the bosses in Persona 5 Royal. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but, that is something worth mentioning. And another thing, the soundtrack in this game is god-awful. I never thought I would be sitting here talking to you guys right now, telling you that a Persona game has an awful soundtrack. Usually, when I play a Persona game, it has an amazing soundtrack all around. But no, this game's soundtrack was so awful, I had to buy the Persona 5 soundtrack. I had to. For the fights, it was so awful. One of the freaking boss fight tracks was just a girl saying, yeah, 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 constantly. And I'm like, bro, that's not why I like Persona soundtracks. That is so awful. The entire time, except for when I was fighting Strega, was the time where I used Persona 5 soundtrack. And the 3 songs I used was Takeover, Rivers in the Desert for boss fights, and for the final boss fight, I used the Yaldabaoth song from the final boss fight of Persona 5. Guys, y'all need to do better with your soundtracks. Do not let this carry over to Persona 6. Please. Why is it that when you get out of Tartarus, the soundtrack sounds better in the game? That's not what's supposed to happen. Usually the battle soundtrack sounds better than when you go outside of Tartarus. I don't know who remixed some of these songs and who made most of these songs. They need to get fired. Because I'm sorry, bro, it ain't cutting it for me. Oh, while we're on the topic, I was trying to hear the new Persona song. I forget what it's called, and I'm not going to bother to look it up. I don't care. I was trying for an hour straight the first time I played this game to get that specific song, and I got it twice. The entire time. Can we, at this point, if we're going to make a remake, quote unquote, or a remaster of a game, or a port of a game, can we just choose which songs we want to listen to? Like, the new version of the song, or the old version of the song? Is that so much to ask? Really? I don't know. Because the entire time I was wanting to hear the new battle music, because everyone was hyping it up, thinking it was so cool. I can't say if it's bad or not, because I never got to hear it. I only got to hear the first battle theme from the original game, and that was it. It's really irritating. Just give us the option at this point. Stop trying to alternate between the two songs. Give us an option to either listen to the new one or the old one. Atlas. It's not that hard. It's not that much work for you to do. I promise you, it isn't. Next thing we're going to talk about. The New Game Plus stuff. Now, I didn't play New Game Plus. Because, I'm not going to. This game doesn't deserve a second playthrough from me. But, I looked it up online, and I was trying to see how you fight Elizabeth. And there was two ways you could fight her. You could either beat the game once and go back to her, whatever, like, as soon as you get into Tartarus. Or, you can complete a specific request from her to take down the Reaper and then unlock her boss fight from there. Sounds cool, right? Yeah, that sounded really cool to me too. There's a huge caveat to that, though. You can only go in with Makoto. With the main protagonist. You can't bring any party members in there. Why? Let me give you some context on why I think this is absolutely retarded. In Persona 5 and 5 Royal, same thing. The secret boss fight in Persona 5 was obviously the Velvet Twins. You could bring your partners, you can bring your party members into that fight. You're able to do that, and then swap them out if you need to, or you could fight them by yourself or with 3 people, it doesn't even matter. You could do that, the game gave you an option to. I was gonna record a gameplay footage of me fighting Elizabeth in this game, but when I saw that you had to follow specific rules, and you weren't able to bring your party members, I was like, no. That's not worth it. Just for gameplay footage, screw that. For instance, you cannot bring a persona that nulls, reflects, drains, or absorbs. Or resists any elements that Elizabeth throws at you. If you do that, she will kill you on the next turn instantly. What? Who thought this was a good idea? No. Do not do this in Persona 6. Do not do this in Persona 6. Why in the world would I not be able to bring party members to fight Elizabeth? Let's give some context again to that. You could fight Elizabeth in Persona 3 FES and Portable. Guys, it's like you're taking 2 steps forward and then 5 steps backwards. Every time I find something that I like about this game, you guys ruin it instantly. And it's just crazy to me. It's freaking stupid. It makes New Game Plus for me meaningless. And I don't even want to. I don't even want to fight Elizabeth. So, if you wanted me to get invested in New Game Plus, yeah, good luck with that. Let's go ahead and talk about... Man, I'll talk about it, why not? Let's talk about Shinjiro. And we all know what happens to him. We've seen and/or played the original game. He dies, you know. He gets shot. Takaya, you know, shoots him up with a blicky, and he dies. That's not what I have a problem with. What I have a problem with is everything you invested into Shinji is gone. When you get him, and this is your first time playing the game, and you don't know he's going to die, and you grind out levels with him, those levels don't carry over. Those levels don't carry over. And, man, with Shinjiro, I used him, like, I already knew he was gonna be gone, right? But I didn't realize that you couldn't bring anything over with Shinjiro, because he's dead. That's dumb. That's freaking stupid. No. That's dumb. I was really upset with that, and that was like a waste of my time. That was a slap to my face because I was grinding it out with him. And I was actually going to use him in the fight with Elizabeth before I found out that you can only fight Elizabeth with the main character. I don't know. What do you want me to say? And I guess I will mention this. The last and probably not least is this game not being the definitive edition. The game not having the answer really hurts this game for me, or the female main character. This game not having the answer or the female main character doesn't sell me on the game. It doesn't make me want to play more. Why in the world did you not add canon story content to this game if you wanted to be faithful to all versions of the game? You should have just added the answer into the base game. But they didn't. And I know some of you Persona retards are going to come out and say, you know, but it isn't actually, you know, it's bad, everyone hates it. So, it's canon story content. It goes into detail on what happens at the end and why it happens, and how everyone in the party feels about said ending. You know? And it goes into more detail about that, and more character development starts happening. I don't care if everyone hated the answer. The problem is that it was canon story content that wasn't in this game. They decided they didn't want to put any of those things in this game because it was too much work for them. And people were like, well, this game doesn't need the answer. No, it does. It really does. The game tries to justify it not having it in this game. But I'm sorry, it needs it. This game is not complete. This game isn't complete whatsoever without it. And honestly, any interest I had with the game, any doubts I had about me hating this game are now completely gone. It's vanished, never to be seen again. I can never ever give this game a second chance because of this stuff. And I've also heard from other people on Twitter a rumor, you know, a speculation that the answer is going to be DLC because it's been data mined in the game's files. That means it's coming. No, it doesn't. Data mined means it might have been coming at one point, but it's not. Data mine means that it could be coming, but it's mostly not going to. It's scrapped content. So, I don't know where people keep getting this illusion. I don't know if it's the copium they're freaking inhaling. I don't know what it is. But stop. It's not coming. Get over it. Okay. Sorry. That was what I was mad about probably the most, but anyways. Now we'll go to hear about I've interviewed my other two friends, an outsider of what they think of Persona and a person who's actually played Persona 3 Reload. And I've come to interview both of them individually to get their opinions on the game series as a whole, this game, and everything else. So I'll roll that clip. my closing thoughts are, this game does everything I was afraid it was going to do in a remake, quote-unquote. This game isn't a remake. It's a remaster. I don't care what anyone tells me about it. This is not a remake. The gameplay is literally the same. The cutscenes are different. The game looks a little prettier. But the story has not changed in any specific way whatsoever. It's a copy and paste from Persona 5 into this game. So no, before you ask me, this game is not a remake. Do not argue with me on that. You will not get anywhere. And I think this needs to be said. I'm worried about the future of Persona. Mainly for the remake of Persona 1, 2, and 4, and also 6. I hope none of the stuff that I've talked about in this video is in the remake. Please, for the love of God, do not, if you even think about remaking Persona 1 and 2, do not have this bullcrap in there. Do not. And especially Persona 6. Do not have this crap in Persona 6, especially. Because if that is what I'll be playing, if I'm going to be playing Persona 6, copy and paste it over from Persona 3 Reload, I'm done. I can't continue to support the series and the company anymore. Please, for the love of God, do something different with your stories. Please. There was a time where I thought that Persona was the peak of storytelling. All the Persona games were the peak of storytelling. And then I played Royal. And I still thought it was still pretty cool. It was still the peak of storytelling, I thought. And then, I don't know, one day I just kind of thought, yeah, wait a minute, what was I even thinking? Persona isn't that great of a series. It's good, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of this series. I always will be. But I'm not that much of a fan to let the stuff I see in this game slide. I'm not going to do that. The only reason why I made a review on this video, or a review on this game, was because I felt like I needed to. I felt like I had to. There was no other way for me to do this otherwise. And it sucks, honestly, for me, that I couldn't enjoy the game as much as I thought I would. It really does. But I guess the game isn't for everyone, and that's okay. It was just naive for me to ever think I would be excited for this game. So, from now on, I'm not going to be interacting with anything Persona 3 related for right now. Until something changes. And it sucks. Because everyone knows this is the last Persona 3-esque game we'll ever have. There will be no Persona 3 spin-offs. There'll be no more Persona 3 games in general. At all. Because they're going to continue to milk Persona 5. As much as I like that, as much as I don't mind them doing that, it's a problem. It really is an Atlus problem. And I hope the people at Atlus, whatever dev team, which part of the Atlus dev team is making Persona 6, please, do something interesting for once with the storytelling. Please. Do something that I never would expect, ever, from a Persona game. Hopefully that's not too much to ask. I was thinking of making a video of how they could have changed Persona 3 Reload's story. and I don't know if I should make it. But if I'm feeling up to it, I have some ideas. And I really think these ideas will be a lot better than what Atlas put out, in my opinion. This game was a disappointment for me, in general, because I was super excited for this game at one point, and then I just wasn't. And I've been mulling it over for a few hours, and I've been talking with some of my friends, and this game, I hate to say it, but this game's a 4 out of 10. It is. That's gonna be my final answer. I cannot and will not subject myself to play this slop again. Please, Atlas, do not do this for Persona 6. Please. Just do better. That's all I honestly ask from you, Atlas. But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in to this long video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.